Morning, Phil.
Morning.
And here we are again to do some more work on building your list.
Indeed, yeah.
So last week we went through quite a number of the high-level ideas, so covered quite a lot of width. And I thought it might be really good this week to focus on what I'm sure most people will want to know, which is how you make money.
Yeah.
Doing this. Now,
of course.
Yeah. Now it's a big topic. So I often hear you saying, when you're doing presentations, that it's important to build trust and loyalty. Amongst your customers. So can you say a bit about sort of ways of doing that? I guess why it's important, but also how you go about doing it.
Yeah, sure. So I use the analogy of over the years I've done a lot of networking, and a lot of small business owners do a lot of networking, and there's things that come naturally to you that when you're in a room with people that you need to just sort of force yourself to remember when you're dealing with your list of people online, and because it's more of a distance relationship there, it's easier to overlook some of the things that you'd absolutely take for granted when you're in a room with people. So
Right.
Engagement is one of the key bits. So if you're in a networking environment, of course you're going to go into the room, you're going to shake hands with people. You're going to engage with them, you're going to talk to them, you're going to ask them questions, you're going to answer their questions, and it's going to be very much a two-way conversation. And that's why networking works so well. But you have to remember that in an offline environment with in an online environment with your list as well, because that comes naturally when you're in a room with people.
So how do you do that? How would you do that at a distance then? Because I guess all of us have done that. We can all imagine doing that. So you build it up. You build up trust because you like someone or because you like what they're saying. So what's the equivalent online?
So engage with your list. Engage with the people that are on your list and the buyers that are on your list in more than one way. So great. You might have their email address, but get them to like and share your Facebook page. Follow them on Twitter, get them to follow you on Twitter, connect with them on LinkedIn, and use the other social platforms that are around you as well to get a good level of engagement with them. So you can have conversations that happen outside of email communications that you may have prompted.
Right.
And all that increases the level of sort of rapport building and engagement that you have with them, and then the much more likely they are when you suggest a product or an offer to them. They're much more likely to take notice of it, and furthermore then take action. So you'll increase the more engagement you can have with your list. And the more that you can be responsive to their engagement and the level of engagement that the individuals within that list want, then the more sales that you'll generate.
Right. Okay. So one of the keys is to use different platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. Get them. If you're new to social media, it's best to pick one platform. So you may have a raft of email addresses and then not be particularly active on any social platform, and that's not at all uncommon. So the best way to start is to pick one platform and to work with that platform and engage with those people that are on your list that also use that platform. So I started very much with LinkedIn.
Right.
Because it was more of a business to business platform, and have conversations and comment on what people are saying on LinkedIn when they've posted a comment, and post questions, and ask for surveys, all of which you can do within LinkedIn, and get them to respond, and then feed back the response of the survey to the audience, and then when you get some comments and stuff, talk to them and email them back, and build up an online conversation with them.
Okay, so that's an interesting point as well. You said that you would choose the particular social media platform where your prospects and customers hang out.
Yeah.
Which, now you've said it, sounds obvious, but yeah, I think that's quite.
Yeah, so
a
lot of people, a lot of people do social media because they know they hear that they're supposed to do social media, but that's nonsense, really. Your customers will have a tendency to hang out on a particular collection of social media platforms, and so it won't be one. There will always be a range of. But that's where you need to be going, and you need to be going to where they are and where they're talking, not trying to invite them onto a platform that they're not familiar with. So, if you were running a hairdresser, then hairdressing shop, it's unlikely that you'd use LinkedIn much, but probably Twitter, Pinterest, and Facebook would be great places to connect, because that's where your audience are going to be hanging out.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
So you get them on your list, and then you engage with them on other platforms too. And then all of a sudden your marketing starts to become much more subtle and unconscious with them, because you're talking to them across many different platforms at no set frequency.
I think it's a good point to compare it with, offline networking as well. So just as you wouldn't expect, or you shouldn't expect, to go to a networking group and immediately make a sale in the first 10 minutes. I think because we've heard so much about the speed of social media, that you can get a little bit sort of distorted view.
Oh, completely, yeah. People have to know, like, and trust someone before they're going to invest with them, and that applies even if it's a pound sale, just as much as it is if it's a hundreds of pound sale. We don't give money away without knowing, liking and trusting the person that we're going to give it to, and knowing that we're going to get value back.
Yeah, I can see that. So you've often said there are two sort of main principles. We've covered the first one: build trust, build loyalty, engage, that sort of thing. The other thing I've heard you say a lot is about fulfilling your subscribers' needs, or meeting the needs of your. Could you say a bit about that?
So yes. Goes back to sort of basic business principles, is that the easiest way to be successful is to sell people what they're looking to buy.
Right.
Sounds obvious. When you're in a business, as business owners, it's really easy to fall into a trap of not doing that, and providing and creating products or pigeonholing people to buy products that they don't know that they want.
Right. Could you give an example? I know it's a bit much to ask off the top of your head, but
right. Yeah. Okay. That's a good searching question. So if I work with one of the companies that I'm involved with, so that works with landlords.
Right.
So landlords know that they need a tenancy agreement. They want to advertise their property, and they know they need a tenancy agreement because it's a legal obligation.
Right.
And there's a few other legal things they need to do. So those are the bits that they'll engage with, because that's what they know they need. So but below that, there are also things that they have a duty of care to ensure that they provide for their tenants. Now, they're not legal obligations, but if you want to rent your property if you want to rent it quickly to a good quality tenant who is going to pay the rent every month, not give you any hassle, and probably stay on for several terms, then a few of the little extras are great ways of having tenants in properties for multiple years.
Right.
And the research, the chaps that I work with in that particular business have a lot of research around what gets people to stay in properties for multiple years. So that keeps the landlord happy, makes the agent look good.
Right. Okay.
So the example there is to understand that the landlord will be looking for to advertise the property and the tenancy agreement. That's what they want. Now, they may also need to register the deposit. They may also need a gas safety certificate. They may also need a schedule of condition for the building to see the condition it was in when it was let out.
Yeah.
They're all good value-added things, but if you go in with those, you're not going to connect with the landlord.
Right. Okay.
They are very much sort of secondary and tertiary sales that you absolutely can make when you're engaged with them on the social when they're engaged in your business and on the social network, because they'll understand that they need to progress to that. But if you go in trying to sell those products first, the landlord doesn't engage with those products immediately, so won't buy them. So you might have a great list of landlords, but you're offering them the wrong product. And a great way to flush that sort of scenario out is to survey them.
Right, okay.
People love being asked their opinion.
Right, okay.
It makes us, it's a human want. It makes us feel valued. So we love to give our opinion. And we certainly love to give our opinion in return for a chance to win something or a discount off a next purchase. So run surveys, use things like SurveyMonkey, spin together 5 questions that it just takes a couple of minutes to complete, and get the answers from your audience themselves. Ask them, what do they look for first? When they bought this product, what do they go on to buy next? What would they like you to be able to provide them next, and at what price point?
Right. Okay. Yeah. No, I can see that. So you're always framing things up, framing your offer up in the benefits that that your clients are looking for. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely, because then you can make a structured offering, and if you've got good feedback, those surveys give you marketing collateral in themselves, because you can announce that you're running the survey. You can then also announce the results of the survey, and those that have taken part will always want to see the results and how they compared. That's also another human want that we find difficult to avoid. So it gives you lots of marketing collateral that you can use to talk to and engage with your audience. But it also then gives you data of the way that you should structure your product lineup to attract them and other more new clients, and get them to engage with your business in the future.
Yeah, no, I can see that. That makes a lot of sense. Because that's some really good advice. I don't want to end this section without talking about value, because I know you're very keen, and I've heard you say several times that you give great value at every time that you interact.
Yeah.
So just before we finish, could you say a bit about that, about what that would sort of look like for people in different businesses?
Yeah. So you should always aim to exceed your customers, your inquiries, your buyers' expectations at every stage that they touch your business. So so these mails, video emails, go out to a combination of our audience, inquirers and previous buyers, and we aim to help people on their way. And these are a perfect example of offering good, solid advice.
Right. Okay.
That we're perfectly prepared to offer out to our audience to engage with them. We take their questions and take their feedback and answer their emails and what have you. So we're giving good value away here, and people engage with us. And over time then that opens the doors, and after some conversations on LinkedIn or Twitter, or an email conversation that leads to a telephone call which leads to a meeting, then the sales will follow at the back of that. The point I want to really make there is every business, I've never really come across one that hasn't. Every business owner has masses of information that they know that they completely take for granted.
Sure. Yeah,
and their customers absolutely don't know the level of detail that as a business owner that they know. And a good way of flushing that out is over a business lunch or something like that. We're happy to have a business lunch and help people flush that out. Or alternatively, talk to some friends and colleagues who aren't necessarily in the same business sector, and just question each other on it. Because you'll realise there's masses of information that that you completely take for granted that your customers don't. And by sharing that information out, information that you're perfectly prepared to share for no immediate return, is a great way to position yourself as an expert in the field and start the rapport building and social engagement that will lead to sales later on.
Okay, well, that's great. So I think the messages we're taking away from here are it's important to engage with your customers, with your prospects, preferably over a number of different platforms, and think about where they're going to be hanging out before you dive into a particular platform, and to always make sure that you're adding value, you're giving value to those people, you're giving the benefits that are important to them, that make sense to them.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I think that's a great run through.
Sure.
And thanks for that. I look forward to next week's.
Yeah, looking forward to it already.
Okay, thanks.
Cheers.